guys, in this video I'm going to share with you how I got back to my pre-pregnancy weight in about 6 months while maintaining a breastfeeding supply, because that was important, wasn't it? Yes. So I'm going to give you some tips. I want to give my first disclaimer, which is that I am not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. I am someone who struggled with weight myself. I was at my heaviest over 200 pounds, but I don't know how much over 200 pounds. I would guesstimate close to 250, but I stopped getting on a scale because I didn't want to know. And with that being said, I not only was able to lose the weight, but I maintained that weight loss. And so I come into this journey as a mom now with that experience and with that information. So I'm going to give you tips that helped me then, as well as things that still applied now. Yes. And things that still helped with my weight loss postpartum. Shouldn't have to say this, but I'm just gonna say it anyways. If you feel like you shouldn't make changes or you need to consult your doctor, do that. This is not an opportunity to sue me video. I don't know why people are so happy, but they are. So you should consult with your doctor or nutritionist if you aren't sure if some of the stuff is right for you. In addition to being a former heavy girl, I am looking down at my notes, sorry. I also came out in a fitness magazine. I reached my fitness goals. So I'll show you guys that magazine. Also had some health issues that scared the living daylights out of me and taught me how to be healthier. I ended up going to the emergency room years ago with gallbladder problems, and they told me that if I didn't have my gallbladder removed that I might not make it. And instead of having my gallbladder removed, what I did was I went to a natural doctor and I learned all these great natural things that you can do to heal your body and what foods you can put in your body and how food can be medicine. So I bring that to the table in this video. So I'll put some links below on anything that I recommend or anything that I've found from other companies or wherever that have been helpful in my journey towards health and fitness. This is my last disclaimer before I give you guys the tips. Can we just all embrace our body for a second? Because we had a new baby, so now we have a new body, and there are some things that may never be the same. I have flaws. I will continue. Yes, I do. I will continue to have flaws. I am not perfect, never will be, never have been. I make it a point to not compare myself as best I can. Sometimes I fall guilty of this, but I try not to compare myself to other people or to other women or to people's bodies, because that's not my body and that's not my journey and that's not my life. So this is not a shaming video, and no one should feel bad because they haven't gained or lost or whatever the case is. If you are heavier than your pre-pregnancy, that's not necessarily a bad thing. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. But I like to tell moms, you know, in my former career I was a postpartum doula, so I worked with women right after they gave birth. Wow. And the thing I like to tell people was it can take 9 months to make a baby, and it can take 9 months for your body to adjust to having a baby. So, you know, be realistic with yourself on what that timeline looks like. Okay, here's your first tip, and this one's hard. Sleep. Sleep is really important, and if you're a new mom, you're probably not getting really good sleep because new moms are very sleep deprived with a baby who's waking you up day and night, right? So sleep is easier said than done, but if you can take naps with your baby, that will help you. I find that when I'm personally sleep deprived, I'm more likely to go to carbs or to sugars or things like that because we want that instant jolt of energy, but that instant jolt of energy actually spikes up and your body tends to store that as fat. So sleep, even if it's in small increments, is much better than not sleeping at all. Next on the list is exercise, but I don't mean go to the gym unless the gym is your thing. The gym isn't like my favorite thing. So when I say exercise, I just mean move your body. If that's that you love dancing with your baby like we do, or if that's you like hiking like I do, or rollerblading or swimming, whatever it is, just move your body. Find ways to move your body that you enjoy. Because if it feels like fun, you're gonna do it. If it feels like a chore, you're gonna procrastinate. You're just not gonna wanna do it. And something is better than nothing in this category. So if you have like 13 minutes before your kid needs to take a nap or before you have to go to work or whatever the case is, go for a 13-minute walk. These little tiny things are baby steps, get it, baby steps, but they make a big difference and they add up, they really do. Imagine if every time you had $13, you're like, oh, I have $13, let me just put it aside. At the end of a month, you might have a couple $100s. Same thing works with exercising. So just do a little bit where you can fit it in here and there. I do things like park far. When I go to the mall or if I go shopping, I don't park at the closest parking spot. It's partially because we have a new car and I don't want people to hit me, but it's more because I want to be able to exercise. And so you can sneak exercise in little increments throughout your day, throughout your week. And again, it adds. I touched on this already, but anything that you do, you want to make sure that you're keeping the priorities where they are and where they need to be. So when you do something, find out, is this possibly going to affect my breast milk supply? Is this possibly going to affect my health or my baby's? If there's any chance that it could do any negative harm to your breast milk supply, to you, to your baby, it's not worth it. Don't do it. Following my journey, then you know at one point my son was having a ton of blood in his poop and I went on a TED diet, which stands for Total Elimination Diet. And when I had to be on the TED diet, I was really eating a very restricted amount of foods. So I was doing things like zucchini, pears, potatoes, and then turkey. And that was it. That was almost it. Occasionally I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna eat an apple and, you know, switch it up a little bit, or I'm gonna have a banana today. And unfortunately, my breast milk supply started going down significantly. I was losing weight really rapidly. And so it was, you know, at first it was like, oh wow, I'm losing weight fast, until I saw that I was losing my breast milk fast too. So I'm grateful that we started doing the transfer factors, which helped the blood in his poop situation. And I started taking probiotics. I'll put that information down there for anybody who's going through the same thing. But that's an example of why you don't want to do crash dieting or anything super restrictive, because if you can't feed your baby, what good is that? The next thing I want to share with you is that food is fuel. And so often we use food for other things, right? Like one of the reasons that I got so big was that I was an emotional eater. And so I would eat because I was bored. I would eat because I was happy. I would eat because I was celebrating. I would eat because I was depressed. I would eat because of anything. Food is fuel. So make sure when you're eating to fuel your body. Now, I'm not saying that you should never have fun food, because it's about balance. It's about making sure that you are not binge eating, right? So you don't let yourself eat anything. I never let myself eat donuts ever, ever, ever. And then one day you eat like 24 donuts because you felt super deprived. So you don't want to do that either. Food needs to be fuel. It's okay to have fun food occasionally, but in general, food is definitely fuel. And so if you're someone who's an emotional eater, this shadow is bugging me. Get off of me. Get off of me. Okay. If you're someone who's an emotional eater or you're eating for other reasons, I recommend looking into some self-help books. I'll put links down below for you on what self-help books helped me. It was definitely an issue that I had to overcome, and once I overcame it, it helped with making healthier choices and also understanding why I do the things I do. The next thing is, I actually used to work for someone who was very knowledgeable in, what's going on with my hair? Very knowledgeable in health and wellness. And so she did everything naturally whenever possible. And so she gave me lots of health tips on how to be the healthiest version of me, not how to diet, but how to have a good lifestyle. And that mindset is really important. This is not a diet where you want to yo-yo back and forth. This is a lifestyle that you want to live, because you never want to go through a day where you don't want to be healthy. Our goal is health, not skinny, not bikini, none of that. Our goal is health, right? You guys as well. Right. And I learned that when you treat your food like medicine, you don't end up having to be on medicine like food, which is kind of cool. Let's talk about low carbs versus no carbs. There's like a lot about keto right now. And at the end of the day, I will tell you that if you're consistent with what you're doing, and what you're doing is healthy for your body, there's a good chance that you're going to be successful. I found that carbs do help me with my breast milk supply, so I didn't want to do a no carb diet. I was just very cautious about adding what types of carbs, and I still am. I'm very cautious about the kind of carbs that I eat. So instead of eating chips, for example, I'll eat potatoes. Instead of eating sugar, and by the way, carbs are in everything, so you have to watch that, because it's so easy to like inflate on carbs. So I would do what we call complex carbs, so root vegetables and things like that. And I wouldn't do those in excess. I would do those to complement the meal. But I also don't eat a bunch of carbs late at night. So that would be another tip, is when I do have carbs, I try to make them in the morning time. Oatmeal made a big difference in my breast milk supply, so I didn't want to cut out oatmeal, but I wouldn't eat oatmeal late in the day. I would eat it in the morning, so I had a chance to burn it off, and also so it had a chance to become breast milk. When I worked as a nanny for a family in Malibu, she taught me, the nutritionist actually specialized in children, and so maybe I'll do a video about what to feed your children. Excuse me, sir. Anyways, so she talked about combining foods, and at every meal you want to have your meal to have a healthy fat, a protein, and a carb. So like an avocado or eggs with the yolk would be a healthy fat, or we would add olive oil. So a healthy fat with protein is really important. And then the carbs, again, we already talked about that. So for some people, you can kind of watch a calories in. It's fine, it's awesome. You never have to apologize for that sound. You can kind of watch your calories in versus calories out, and that works for some people. I'm not a calorie counter, but it does make sense that when you eat more calories than you're burning, your body stores them. Now, I will tell you, there are certain people who, no matter how healthy they eat and no matter how much they exercise, when they're breastfeeding, their body holds on to the extra fat. So they have a harder time losing weight while breastfeeding, but once they're done breastfeeding, the weight comes off. So that could be you. Don't beat yourself up if that's the case. Next on my list is water. You want to drink as much water as you can. You don't want to make yourself sick. Too much of something can be bad too, but you want to drink as much water as you need, because without that, that will definitely affect your breastfeeding supply. But also, water is very cleansing, water is hydrating, and gosh, what do they say? 1 ounce of water for every 1 to 2 pounds of body weight is the goal. So I recommend drinking a full glass of water first thing in the morning, kind of just get your body going, rinse your system before you put any food in it or anything. Just get a good 8 ounces of water in, and then watch your beverages in terms of if they have lots of sugar. Again, those carbs do add up there. Or if they have a bunch of chemicals. If it's not something that you would feed your baby, you don't really want to be drinking it yourself when you're breastfeeding, because you're feeding your baby what you're eating, really. So drink lots and lots of water, especially first thing in the morning. And then before every meal, it's nice too, because it helps you feel full, but it also keeps you hydrated and helps your digestive system work best. One thing I like to tell my moms that are in the postpartum stage, when I worked as a postpartum doula, is that you definitely want to eat a rainbow a day. And I don't mean Skittles. I mean, you want to eat fruits and veggies of all different colors, because everything that has a different color provides different vitamins. And so you can give yourself a great well-balanced diet, and then your baby, because you're breastfeeding, also gets a well-balanced diet, but it also increases your breast milk supply when you're giving yourself everything you need. And one thing about breast milk is if you aren't eating certain things, your body isn't getting them to give to the baby. Your body will take them from you to give to the baby. So you want to be really careful and make sure you're getting enough protein and calcium and things like that. Also remember this, you are an example now. So whether your child is 5 years or 5 months, they're watching you and they're seeing what you do. And I don't think there's any better motivation than to be healthy for your children, and when they're watching you and learning how to eat and what to eat, that you are being a great example. One thing that we don't do a lot of at our house is dairy or soy. I don't really do soy anytime I can avoid it. There are occasions, there's the splurge here and there, the fun food meal that I talked about, but we're very low on dairy. So the only dairy that I tend to do is occasionally I'll drink kefir, or I'll do a Greek yogurt with no flavors, no additives, nothing like that. It's just Greek yogurt, and I do full fat. You do not necessarily need to be afraid of fat. Fat is your friend if it's the healthy fat. Another tip I have is when you meal prep, you're much more likely to stay on track with healthy eating. When you don't meal prep, you're gonna find that you grab something really quick, and a lot of times the fast foods are not necessarily the easy foods. And when I meal prep for me, I also meal prep for my son. So if I'm making, like, let's say zucchini, I'll cut up a little bit and put some aside for him, and then I, don't put the same seasonings and spices on his food as well as that I do on mine. In addition to meal prepping, I think it's important that you snack prep, because if you skip snacks, then when you do go to eat, you're gonna eat way more because you're making up for food that you didn't eat. I know I've been guilty of that on numerous occasions. So you wanna have little snacks that are healthy. Trail mix is one of my go-tos, so that you have access to that. And then I also keep water bottles. We have a tri-level house, so I keep water bottles on almost every single level so that I'm never too far from water. The more hydrated you are, the less likely you are to indulge on sugar or things that are sweet. You'll actually be more likely to make healthy choices. Someone said this to me, and I love this. They said, your food shouldn't have ingredients, your food should be the ingredients. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. So when you go grocery shopping and you stay on the outside perimeter of the grocery store, you don't go into the canned foods and the boxed foods and the frozen foods. You stay on the outside where the fruits and vegetables and protein is. That's actually a really safe way, really good way to do your grocery shopping. I'll talk to you guys about the fun foods, which is like the splurge, the foods that aren't really necessarily healthy, but they're fun to eat because they taste really good for me. I love donuts. Our favorite restaurant has this awesome carrot cake that I love. So don't at all think for one second that I just don't ever eat bad foods, because I'm honest, and I even put the bad foods that I eat or the fun foods that I eat on Instagram to show you guys. But when you do eat those fun foods, be a snob about it. And what I mean by that is, don't just eat just anything. Eat the things that you like really love, that you really want, and eat the parts of it that you really love and you really want. So for example, I love cinnamon rolls, and I will get cinnamon roll and I'll only eat the center because that's the best part. So do things like that. Be a food snob with your fun foods. I also want to add that it's important to listen to your body. So if you're feeling, my husband just had the stomach flu, and he was like, what really sounds good to me right now is to do, just egg whites or whatever you're feeling. Listen to your body. And unless your body is telling you to only eat ice cream every day, all day, and no vegetables, then don't listen to your body. But in general, your body actually does tell you what you need, or what your cells are wanting, so to speak. And I wanted to share with you guys, there's this book, it's called Eating Right for Your Blood Type, and I'll put a link down below for that as well. It's really neat. It's interesting. It tells you what foods your type of blood thrives on. So those are the types of foods that you might want to eat. It tells you what types of foods could be poisonous to your blood type, and so those are foods you could avoid. And I thought it was fascinating when we looked into it, and you can just go online and check it out. It's pretty interesting. Here's another thing. People will say it's really expensive to eat healthy. My response to that is, it's really expensive to have medical bills because you're sick. It's much more expensive to have to pay later on in life for a horrible state of health, to have to pay for someone to care for you, in worst case scenario, than it is to pay for your foods to be organic, or if nothing else, that for them to be healthy. So keep that in mind. You are paying a price. Do you want to pay the price of your health? What are your priorities here? It was funny to me. I heard one person say that I don't buy organic, it's just too expensive. And this girl was wearing name brand everything that said that. I'm like, pretty sure you spent money on your outfit and the name brand stuff, which is fine, no problem, nothing against you for it, but your health is important too. And if you don't have your health, you won't even be able to wear that fancy handbag, girlfriend. So make sure that you're taking care of you, because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your baby. Want to see pictures of the food I eat, the recipes I suggest, the fun foods that I show, pictures with my little man and I, little adventures that we go on, just little things that happen throughout life, be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'm Michelle Motivation, and I look forward to seeing you guys there. Alright guys, I hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, give me a thumbs up, share it with anybody that you think can benefit from it. I always love hearing from you guys. You know, the comments are awesome. You know, people say things like, your video was very helpful. Yeah, it's true. And that just makes my day to hear that. So I appreciate that. If you would like to watch my next video when that comes out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I agree. Thanks guys.